There have been times where I'm in a work mode, or I'm in a, okay, we need to get this done, we need to figure this out, we need to plan the contingency, whatever happened. And I go into fix it mode. Like, oh, you just do this and you're fine. And while my intentions are great, for her, it reads as dismissive.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, for me, it's the tone carries everywhere.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Forged podcast. Today is a little bit different of an episode for you. The month of March is going to be all about leadership. So I have some fun guests that's going to be on this podcast this month that I know you're absolutely going to love. And leadership is very close to my heart because leadership, as John Maxwell would say, everything rises and falls on leadership. And ultimately, leadership becomes down to the influence that you have. And if you're listening to this podcast and you think, I don't have leadership, think again. Someone views you as a leader of their life. And maybe it is only one person right now, or maybe it's 100, or maybe it's 1,000. It doesn't really matter where you land in that. The point of getting across in this month of leadership is going to be you to realize that everything rises and falls on leadership and your ability to influence people, love them, appreciate them. And I think that one thing I really want to get across, and why today's episode's a little bit different, is that I teach leadership from what I learned from the people that I meet, the mentors that I have, the books that I read as well from leadership, being a lot of John Maxwell, but there's a lot of other stuff in there as well. But I taught a staff meeting, and I do monthly staff meetings for our staff, whether all 200 and some come or all 80 or 60, whatever it is, for between the school and the church. And so I'm going to go to actually and throw it to one of those staff meetings. And this staff meeting is all about tone. So no one else has access to these staff meetings except our staff. And so I thought it was going to be a very cool way to bring in some leadership teaching to this as well. So we'll have a good conversation, me and Matt, at the end of the staff meeting and pull some things in and dive a little deeper into it. I know you're going to enjoy this. So listen in, take some notes, and hopefully you can grow in your leadership ability by the end of this. Typically, what I like to do in these meetings is I always, at least ever since taking the reins of church and SCA, I am just leadership development all the time on my brain. I can't get enough. Of John Maxwell's teaching. I can't get enough of whatever leadership I can find, podcasts all the time. I'm very, 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 I love John Maxwell's, the first law, one of the first laws of the irrefutable laws of leadership, 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, is the law of the lid. And what does the law of the lid say? The law of the lid says you can only lead to the ability that you can lead. If your leadership is an 8, then you will lead everyone under you to a 7. And you are limiting them from getting to an 8 unless you can get to a 9, and so on and so forth. It's the law of the lid. And so I don't want to ever limit any organization that I have the blessing and honor to lead, because I just won't raise my leadership lid. And so for me, I want that to also be something that we all take with where we go. Every single person in this room, whether you're put into a position right now over people or not, are in the same spot, in the sense that learning to lead better will only equip you for more in the future, for God to bless you more in the future, in the route of giving you more responsibility of what you can actually handle and what you steward. And so I always talk leadership on these staff meetings, and I'm going to talk leadership again today, with the caveat that I am learning. I am continuing to learn as I go, just alongside you. I've not made it, and I never will make it. I will always be a learner, and that's just how it works for me. So I hope that you guys have the same belief and the same just continue to push in for leadership, because there's something beautiful about becoming who God's created you to be. And I believe the path to become that does involve leadership, equipping and training. It just does. And so this applies to the classroom. This applies to the TV ministry. This applies to the church staff. This applies to custodial. This applies to leading departments. This applies to the finance office. This applies to every single place that we go. And so as one collective group, let's not forget to continue to push up our leadership capacity and our leadership lid, because it'll only serve you and the organization and ministry that you work for better. So today, I've been thinking a lot about culture. I've been thinking a lot about what shapes culture. Not what we say necessarily about what shapes culture, but not what our website says or what our handbooks say. Those are all great things to have in place, but what really, really, really shapes culture. Culture is something that goes with you. I would go as far to say that the success of all the organizations and ministries here right now have been they've created an amazing culture over the last 10, 15 years. And that culture always outlives whoever leads that organization. But if you stay with that culture, you continue to grow it, you continue to flourish, you continue to protect that culture and steward it, something really beautiful happens. And so I think what I've noticed is that you can have the best vision in the world. You can have the clearest values, you can have the tightest strategy, you can have everything that you need for that, and still end up with a culture that doesn't really feel right. Like everything looks good on paper, right? You can say, you know what, I am a collaboration value type of person. I love collaboration, but then you all of a sudden are the worst person to work with and no one likes collaborating with you, even though it's your value that you stand by. You know what I'm saying? You can have it on paper, you can have it in your phone, you can have it as a lock screen, you can have it as your Instagram bio. It doesn't mean that you actually walk it out. And stewarding a great culture means that we have to walk out the values that we have, and values are what creates such a good culture. So everything looks good on paper, like I said, but something feels off in the room sometimes. And I think I know why. It's because culture isn't built by what we say that we believe. It's easy, right? I can say I believe in anything, but whether I walk by that, it's different. It's built by what people feel when they're around us. That's the biggest caveat with this. So it's built by what they absorb, what they pick up on, what they experience day after day in the small moments of working, of leading, of meetings, of conversations, of difficult conversations, and the moments that we maybe sometimes don't even think about. So, and that's what I want to talk about today, because every single person in this room leads people, whether you think you do or not. People watch us, people observe, people are affected by what we take into the room. So whether you're leading a classroom, whether you're leading a team, whether you're leading a ministry, whether you're leading a department, whether you're leading people, I mean, if you go into leadership books, you lead beside too. You have people that you are not over or under, and you lead them as someone who's beside them. So leadership is found absolutely everywhere. So if you're not in a current leadership position, you will be one day, depending on your ability to develop today. That's what it all comes down to. So people are always watching us, not in a paranoid, creepy stalker way, but watching us because when you're a successful organization, school, church, TV station, they just watch. That's just how it works. It goes all of the time. So when they watch you in this human way, they're picking up on something that we carry with us, something we bring into every single room, every single conversation, and every single crisis, every crisis. And if we're not aware of what this is, and I haven't told you what it is yet, we can't steward it well. You have to be aware of what it is. So today, we're going to talk about tone, T-O-N-E, tone. Leadership tone, the emotional temperature you bring into a space, okay? The thing that quietly shapes culture long before policy or plans ever do. This isn't corrective. This is these staff meetings, well, sometimes maybe they are, but not today. We're good. Nobody's in trouble, obviously. This is just foundational. This is me wanting to set the emotional temperature for the year ahead for all of us, including me. This is including me. And so if we get this right, everything will be made easier in our leadership this year, wherever you are leading. So what is tone? Let's talk about what is tone. Tone is the emotional temperature that you bring into a room. I've said that once already. We'll say it again just so we really hammer it down. It's not what you say. Tone is not what you say. It's how people feel when you say it. Okay, so it's not your words. It's the weather system that surrounds your words. Get that? Okay, so think about it. You've been in meetings where the content was fine, but something felt off. Why did it feel off? Maybe the leader was distracted. Maybe the leader was anxious. Maybe the leader was annoyed. You couldn't name it, but something felt a little bit off, right? That's tone. It's tone. You've also been in hard conversations where somehow they felt safe, but the topic was difficult. It was hard. It was confronting. Maybe the leader, but because the leader was probably steady. The leader was probably just a little more chill. They were a little more present. You walked away thinking, that was tough, but I trust them. There's different. That's tone too. So tone is the invisible force that shapes every single interaction that you have, every single one. So it's what you carry into the room before you open your mouth. So it's the energy behind your email, right? We all have energies behind our emails. It's the look on your face when someone asks you a question at the worst time. Yes, okay, good. I'm getting through. It's whether people feel like they can bring you bad news. Good news is easy. When I took over senior pastoring, the first Sunday was like, we're going into a Build the Future campaign. It was like the sweetest thing in the world. Bringing good news is very simple. It made my transition for that time a lot more simple than it would have been otherwise. Bringing good news is good or is great, but you have to be someone that is willing to accept bad news, and then your tone in response to that is going to tell you whether that person is going to continue to bring the truth of what's actually happening to you or just sugarcoat it, or as sometimes we joke about here in the Springs office is the Lego theme song. Everything is awesome all the time, no matter what. I was going to say, Michael's going to say amen to that one for sure. We talk about it often, right? Because everything, a lot of the time, can be awesome, but there's also times where it's not going the way that we want it to go. There's not the way that it needs to be planned. And if you can't bring bad news to your leader or someone who's above you or someone who's beside you, it's not going to be a great culture that you develop. So it's whether your team feels empowered or micromanaged, whether they feel like you're always over their shoulder. It's whether students feel seen or feel just processed. You know, it's just like, okay, next, come on up to the desk. And it's difficult. This all takes, it's a little bit of a difficulty when we start to lead this way. But here's what tone is not, okay? Tone is not personality. The lazy people love to say it's their personality. Right? But it's not. Introverts, extroverts can both have a healthy tone. I'm not asking people to be loud and charismatic because, yeah, I realize that can be more of a personality. You just have to be steady. That's all. Tone is not mood. We all have bad days. We know it. Tone is what you do with your mood, right? It's whether you let your bad day become everyone else's bad day. Don't point. Tone is not niceness. You can have a kind tone and still have hard conversations. In fact, leaders with the healthiest tone are often the ones who are the most willing to speak the truth because their tone creates safety for the truth. Okay? So let me say it again. Tone is the emotional temperature you bring into a space. And here's the thing. You are always setting the temperature. Always. No matter what, you are always setting a temperature. Always. There's no neutral temperature. You're either bringing calm or you're bringing chaos. You're either bringing confidence or you're bringing anxiety. You're either bringing clarity or you're bringing confusion. You don't get to opt out of having a tone. Sometimes I wish I could. Sometimes on the bad days where I got no sleep and I still got to show up and still got to lead and still got to do staff meetings and still got to have hard conversations and still got to comfort people in the halls or pray for people that are going through the hardships of their life, I sometimes wish I could just say it and they'll just take it the way that I mean it. But it doesn't work that way. And you learn that quickly when you're married. Yes. So you only get to choose whether you are aware of your tone. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to become aware of the tone that we bring into the rooms that we go into, okay? So there's 3 truths, and we're not going to talk super long today, but we're going to go through 3 truths about tone. And these are things that I've learned the hard way, things that I'm still learning, and things that I'm still picking up on, but I'm going to teach through my learning as well. So truth number 1, pressure doesn't create culture, it exposes it. Pressure doesn't create culture, it exposes it. When things are smooth, everything always looks good. It's easy, but pressure reveals what's really there. So this first truth, if we don't handle our tone, if we don't steward the culture, if we don't do what we need to do to make sure that we protect that culture, pressure will hit, it always does. For every organization here, we go through ebbs and flows of pressure, ebbs and flows of sometimes what we would define as a good time or a bad time, ebbs and flows where you have to tighten the belt and you can loosen it, ebbs and flows where you can get involved more or you might have to pull back and do what's the necessity of the time. Whatever it might be, there is that, but pressure will come, and when it does, it will reveal your culture. Every time, no matter what. So a crisis doesn't create culture, it reveals it. Okay, so a busy season doesn't create your culture. It reveals it. A conflict doesn't create your culture. It reveals it. And what gets revealed is tone. Okay, so when the budget gets tight, what tone do you carry? When a parent sends an angry email, what tone do you carry? When a volunteer quits last minute, what tone do we carry? When a student has a meltdown, what tone do you carry? When your boss asks you to redo something that you thought was great and finished, what tone do you carry? Pressure's coming, it always does. We can't avoid it. We have to face it head on, and we have to bring the proper tone into that pressure. So the question isn't that, is pressure coming? No, it's always coming. The question is, what is it going to expose? And I would say that all three organizations here today have done a great job at building a culture and protecting a culture and establishing a culture. Does that mean we're perfect? No. Does that mean everyone operates in that culture? No. Does that mean leaders don't have bad days where they definitely aren't operating, it seems like, in that culture? No. There's times that come that pressure reveals the tone that we have for culture. But pressure's coming. So if we want a healthy culture, we have to build healthy tone before the pressure hits. So because in the moment we don't rise to the occasion. I love this saying. I made it a little bit different than what John Maxwell says, but people always love to say, oh, I'll rise to the occasion. No, you won't. John Maxwell always says, you'll fall to the level of your preparedness. Right? And that's the truth. Adrenaline might get you through something you haven't prepared for. I think that's God, that's Holy Spirit, that's leading, of course. I think there's room for that, absolutely. But if you find yourself in pressure after pressure after pressure after pressure after pressure, you're going to fall to the level of your preparedness. That's what's going to happen every single time. So my question is, what are you preparing? What are you practicing? When no one's watching, when the stakes are low, when everything's smooth and going good, and it's just a Tuesday, okay? What tone are you rehearsing? Because that's the tone that's going to show up when it matters. So let me give you a real example of this. In September 1982, 7 people in the Chicago area died after taking extra strength Tylenol that happened to be laced with cyanide. Okay. The tampering, according to the story, happened after the Tylenol bottles left the facility. So it was not the company's fault that it was in there. It was some other third party that decided to do something very evil. And so it wasn't the company owner's fault. Johnson & Johnson was the company, but Tylenol was the dominant pain reliever of America. It was the most important consumer product, and losing Tylenol in that moment would be catastrophic to obviously their sales, to what they're bringing in. And the legal team said, don't recall all the Tylenol. It wasn't our fault. You'll bankrupt yourself if you bring that back out. The financial team said the same thing. We're going to bankrupt ourselves if we do this. But the CEO of that times, James Burke, made a different call. Johnson & Johnson made the hard call of recalling 31 million bottles of Tylenol nationwide. 31 million. So over $100 million. Crazy. And here's the thing. When you look into Burke's interviews in this time, it's 1982, every press conference, everything that he said, he was calm, he was clear, he was human. He said, we don't know what happened yet, but we're not going to let anyone else get hurt while we figure it out. Okay? So that tone from this CEO didn't come from nowhere. It came from the culture that was already there. There was a culture already established there, a culture that valued in 1982 people over profit. Okay? And when the pressure hit, when everything was on the line, the culture got exposed. That culture, luckily, their culture was good. If it wasn't, they would have probably bankrupted themselves. I guarantee it. See, and when that culture was exposed, there was a tone that came out, and the tone that came out in those interviews and what he said and what that CEO went through matched what the company actually believed in. This is the difference. They didn't just survive. In fact, within 1 year after that decision, Tylenol was the leading pain reliever again in America. That's crazy. That's a big crapshoot, whatever you want to say, okay? That's a big one. That's a big one. The tone just didn't come from nowhere though, right? The Tylenol was the leading pain reliever once it was all done. And so when I say that pressure, it starts to expose the culture, expose your tone, the pressure didn't create that response. You guys get what I'm saying? So the pressure didn't create that response in that CEO. It exposed what was already built there. It exposed what was already practiced. It exposed what was already prepared. It was exposed what already the values that were on paper and in the handbook and on the website and the Instagram bio and all those different things were in fact things that you walk out every single day, which I think is a very beautiful thing. Truth number 2, teams don't rise to our values. They mirror our tone. You can put, and we do in all organizations, I think, most of them, we put a handbook in, we have our values written down somewhere, we have what we believe in somewhere. But all of you know that if you interview someone and you hire someone and say, here's our handbook, doesn't mean that's their values. Happens all the time. You hire and fire quick sometimes. You're like, oh, this guy said it all, but didn't walk it through after. He said he was all about grace, and then he was cussing out his team member the next day. It's just like, what? This is crazy, right? So we have to realize teams don't rise to our values. They mirror our tone. You can have the best values in the world on paper. In the world, you can talk about grace and excellence and collaboration, but if your tone is anxious, your team's going to be anxious. If your tone is critical, your team's going to be critical. If your tone is reactive, your team's going to be reactive. It's just going to slowly erode the culture that you've built. Teams don't rise to our values, they mirror our tone. So I'll give you an example. Let's say one of your values is grace. Okay? You talk about it, you believe it, but when someone makes a mistake, your tone is sharp. Your tone is impatient. Your tone is frustrated. What do you think your team learns in that moment? They learn that grace is a value you talk about, but not one that you live. Right? Or let's say that one of your values is collaboration, like I mentioned earlier. But when someone brings you an idea, your tone is dismissive, right? Or distracted or hurried. Well, what did your team just learn? Well, collaboration's a nice idea, but it's definitely not welcome here. That's what they learned. Jesus understood this. You read through the Bible, and the religious leaders of his day had all the right values on paper. They had the value of righteousness. They had the value of holiness. They had the value of justice. But their tone was what? Condemning, hostile, rigid. So weird religious leaders back then. Then a woman caught in adultery, you guys all know this story, was brought before them, and they were ready to stone her. And Jesus, listen to this, with the same values as the religious leaders. See what I did there? Okay? Righteousness, holiness, justice. But his tone was completely different. Completely different in that moment. Instead, it was steady, it was gracious, it was dignifying. So then Jesus says, let him without sin cast the first stone. Then obviously, one by one, all those stones started to drop. Then he looked to the woman and said, neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. Same values, completely different tone, and that's what changed everything in that story. It was the tone. Talk is cheap. It's very cheap. Your tone is your real value. Your tone reveals your real values, not the ones on the website, not the ones in the handbook, not the ones not the ones in the handbook, not in the ones on your Instagram bio or your social media or what you post in your caption when you're on X or Facebook or whatever everyone posts on these days. It's the ones that you actually live day in and day out, the ones that people experience when you're in the room, when you walk in, when you're in the meeting, when you talk, when you're having conversation with people. So if you want your team to be gracious, you've got to carry a gracious tone. You just have to. If you want your team to be courageous, you've got to carry a courageous tone. If you want your team to be steady, you've got to carry a steady tone. You're the culture architect, and the tone is the blueprint. Your tone is how you walk into every room. It's what you ask yourself before you get into a meeting, before you get into a parental conference, before you have to have hard conversations. You ask yourself, what tone do I want to bring into this meeting? If I don't do that, I'm most likely going to be reactionary and not proactive. And if you're reactionary, then things are going to go south pretty fast. Now, I want to clarify this, am I saying what's written on the website and your handbook and your Instagram bio doesn't matter? Well, maybe the Instagram bio doesn't really matter. But the other ones, yeah, they absolutely matter. But ultimately, people will know you by your tone. And when your tone matches what you say and what you believe, then people start to trust you more. It's like this guy or girl does what he says, speaks back in the way that he says or she says that she or he values what they're going through. And there's something very beautiful about that. So we have to remember, number 2, like I said, teams don't rise to our values. They mirror our tone. Your tone is so incredibly infectious, so infectious. Number 3, your tone is contagious and it travels faster than your words. Okay, it travels much faster than your words. Have you ever noticed how quickly a mood can shift a room? We've all experienced it. One person walks in stressed and suddenly everyone's stressed. One person starts complaining and suddenly everyone's complaining. One person panics and suddenly more people are panicking. Tone spreads so fast. So fast. And here's the thing, it always travels down, not up. Your team might not adopt your boss's tone, but they will adopt yours. They're working with you every day. They talk to you every day. Classmates, your students, the people that you work with, they will adopt that tone. You can see that with classroom management with teachers even. You walk into one and it's chaotic and maybe that's the way they want it. And then the other ones, it's like maybe a little more like heads down, we're done, whatever it might be. And each teacher brings their own culture. But the point I'm trying to say is that your tone spreads fast. If you're panicked, the kids will be panicked. If you're scared, the kids will be scared. Same thing and that doesn't just get left in adolescence, that comes into adulthood too. I've seen it in multiple meetings, in multiple rooms, in multiple staffs, in multiple stories. It happens everywhere. Why? Because tone spreads fast. So if you lead a department, your tone sets the tone for that department. If you lead a classroom, your tone sets the tone for that classroom. If you lead a ministry, your tone sets the tone for that ministry. So let me again show you what this looks like. This is out of a different CEO story. I love the stories of the business world. So this comes back to a few years ago, Alan, I think it's Mulally, became CEO of Ford. And Ford, when he became CEO, was in a crisis that year, 2006. The company lost over $17 billion. $17 billion, literally the worst loss in Ford's entire history at that point. Mulally knew something had to change, so he started weekly leadership meetings. Weekly, okay? Every executive of his company would report on their project status with a simple system of green, yellow, or red, okay? Green meant good. Red meant problem, okay? And obviously yellow is like an in-between. Week after week, every single report came back green. We lost $17 billion in 1 year, and every executive saying, nope, it's green, things are going good. It's like, oh, they are going good, hey? Nope, we're good, no issues. But Ford was hemorrhaging money every single day. And Alan, the CEO, knew the reports were lies, but nobody would admit to a problem. No one would come and say, it's red. Because the culture had taught them that if you say something's broken, you get blamed. So no one wants to say it. Why would I want to bring a problem and then have to take the brunt? It's like, I like taking the brunt when it's my fault. Absolutely, I do that every single time. But if there's something that maybe isn't fully my fault and it's a little more of a collective team effort here, I don't want to not bring it because I'm gonna get steamrolled. I want to bring it because I want to make this place better, right? So then 1 week, one of his executives, Mark Fields, stood up and said his project was red. The room went silent. Right? They're all been saying green. They're like, we don't tell the CEO that we're red. We just go with green. Okay, that's the color we choose. And everyone was waiting for the CEO, Alan, to blow up because that was what they're used to. He's a new CEO. He's coming into a different culture. He now has to create a new culture, and it starts with how he reacts to different things like this. Instead, he actually started clapping the CEO, and he said, that's great visibility. Who can help? Well, that changed the entire tone of the room. Everyone realized we can bring what's not working, and as a collective team, we can organize this and figure it out. The moment that tone changed, everything changed. The next week, more red reports came. You think that's a bad thing? That's a good thing, okay? Not because things got worse, but because it suddenly became safe to tell the truth. It was like, great, we can tell the truth. We can have fun with this. One leader's tone in one moment became contagious and it rippled through the entire organization. One tone on one moment, on one person responding to one simple little thing changed the entire staff's culture in that moment. And the thing that what happens is that when you carry a tone that says, I'd rather know the truth than live a lie, that's what those green reports were telling, right? Weren't telling the truth, they were living a lie. People catch what you carry all the time. Your tone is so incredibly important. So my question to everyone here is, so what are they catching from you? What are you bringing into the room? What are you bringing into the meeting? What are you bringing, home, to your family, to your spouse, whatever it might be? Your tone goes with you everywhere. You can fake it at school or fake it at church or fake it at Miracle Channel all you want, but someone's going to get the real tone. So my question is, what are people catching from you? Are they catching calm or chaos? Are they catching confidence or insecurity? Are they catching clarity or confusion? Are they catching hope or cynicism, right? It's easy to be devil's advocate. So easy. I love poking holes in things. To play devil's advocate, this is not going to work, 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 and that's not going to work.
I don't know what's going to work, but that's not what's going to work. And you walk away. It's easy to be that. It's awesome. And when you have a good intention behind saying, hey, have you thought of these different things? That's a great way of doing it, but not poking holes because you can think of everything that might go wrong. See, this is especially true in moments of uncertainty. When people don't know what to think or how to feel, they look to their leader. Could be me, could be you, could be the classroom, could be Miracle Channel, could be SCA, it could be Springs Church, could be wherever you go. They look to the leader and they don't just listen to what you say, they catch how you say it. You can say, yep, everything's going real good. Yep. You can cry on the spot. They're like, he said everything's going good, but everything's not going good. That's for sure. That's not for sure. There's a tone that goes involved in that, okay? Sorry, I spit all over the front row. But your tone in that crisis moment becomes their tone. It always will. That's not pressure. That's stewardship. I'm not saying, well, you can never have a bad day. You've been given influence, and your tone is one of the most powerful ways to steward your influence. So powerful. So let me bring all these three truths together. Pressure doesn't create culture, it exposes it. Teams don't rise on our values, they mirror our tone. And the third one, your tone is contagious and it spreads faster than your words. If those things are true, which in my own leading, in my own life, I've discovered that they are all true, then we've got to take tone seriously. It's not just a soft skill that sometimes we'll have, sometimes we won't. No, it's a leadership essential. Your tone is a leadership essential. So I want to shift for a few minutes. I'm going to be closing up in the next, 10 minutes, but I want to shift a few gears for a few minutes, and I'm going to give you some questions. And if you brought your notebook, and then great, write these down. If you don't need to answer them right now, but I do want you to take time today or tomorrow to sit down by yourself for 5-10 minutes and seriously answer these questions in your notebook. I find this to be a very good exercise, an important one, because here's what I've learned. Leaders who actually do this work, who take the time to honestly assess their tone, they're the ones that grow, and they're the ones who shift the culture, or they either shift a bad culture to good culture, or they steward and protect the current culture. If you have a great culture, your tone stewards and protects that culture. If you have a bad culture, your tone can turn that culture around and start to bring in a new, very healthy culture. So either way, it's absolutely huge. So grab your pen or your phone and write these down and commit to sitting with them. And I mean actually sitting with them, okay? Don't rush to an answer. Don't perform. No one else is reading this except you. So be honest with yourself, okay? The first question, what tone do I carry most often? What tone do I carry most often? Not the tone that you wish you carried, not the tone you carry on your best days, the tone that you actually carry most days, most moments. If someone followed you around for a week, okay, and they were in your meetings, they're in the hallways, they're in your classroom, they're in your office, they're in your car, what tone would they say you carry? Okay? Is it calm? Is it anxious? Is it confident? Is it insecure? Is it present? Is it distracted? Is it patient? Is it rushed? Is it hopeful? Is it cynical? Just name it in your notebook later. You can just put that question down, but start thinking about it. But I just want you to name it. No judgment, just awareness of what you feel you carry into every room and everywhere that you go. Second question, what does my tone communicate to the people that I lead? What does my tone communicate to the people that I lead? Think about your team. Think about your students. Think about your volunteers, the people who are watching you. If you are currently not leading anyone, then answer the question of what would it communicate if you were in a leadership position? Because if you're not at that leadership level, then you'll never get that position. Does that make sense? So people look for promotion and they fake it till they make it. And then 3 or 4 months in, when crisis hits, they realize the leadership level wasn't there to actually responsibly steward the role they were given. So we have to make sure that we're continually building the leadership lid, like I said in the beginning. So when they experience your tone, this is the second question. What do they learn? Do they learn that it's safe to bring their problems, or that you'll be frustrated? Do they learn that you trust them, or do they they feel like you always look over their shoulder? Do they learn that mistakes are a part of growth and it's okay? We can revamp, we can collectively go together even though we make mistakes, or that mistakes are unacceptable? Your tone's teaching them something. Okay, what is it? Write that one down. I'm not asking you don't have to write next to your nosy neighbor who's going to be all eyes on your paper right now as you write the answers. So, third question. What tone do I carry under pressure? Tone is easy when everything's going good. Tone is easy when you feel like all your love languages have been hit for that week with your family and with everything else. Tone is easy when crisis is not there. Tone is easy when there's no pressure. But what tone do you carry under pressure? Think about the last time that you were stressed, overwhelmed, frustrated, caught off guard. What tone showed up? Okay, you didn't choose the tone, it just showed up. Did you get short? Did you shut down? Did you spiral? Did you blame? Did you stay steady? Again, no judgment when you answer these questions in your notebooks in the next couple of days, just honesty and awareness of what you feel in your gut. Because that's the tone that matters most. Anyone can have a good tone when things are going great. The question is what happens when things get hard. That's the hardest tone to keep on the straight and narrow. The fourth question and final question is, what tone do I want to carry this year? What tone do I want to carry this year? Sometimes we go into the new year and we don't realize that a simple question like that gets written in our notebook or written in our notes on our phone or written somewhere that we actively look at, or on a sticky note on your desk or on a sticky note on your whiteboard, whatever it might be, it actually helps you remind yourself when you are stressed, what tone should I carry? It takes that extra 10 seconds there. So if you could choose, and you can, okay, what tone do you want to be known for? Not a fake version of yourself, not someone else's tone, yours. What do you want people to feel when they're around you? Life gets harder when people only feel cynicism and negativity around you. Your life gets harder. It just does, because people don't want to be around you. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to open up. They don't want to tell you the truth. They don't want to collaborate with you. Sometimes they don't even want to show grace because it just feels hard because they don't know how someone's going to react. But what do you want to be true of you when the year's over? You have 1 year ahead of you, and then the next year hits. So when you sit down and honestly ask those 4 questions that I just gave you, here's the good news, okay? Tone is a choice. It's a choice. It's not fixed. You weren't born with a tone, okay? It's not your personality. It's not your wiring. It's a choice you make moment by moment, day by day, every single day. You can grow. We all can grow through this. And I think every organization that's represented here today has a culture that celebrates that. That's okay. It's the way that we should do it. You can grow as you keep going. You're going to have bad tone every once in a while. You're going to have bad days. Absolutely. But here's what I want to be true for our culture this year. And I'm speaking a little on behalf of Jeremy as well for Miracle Channel, but here's what I want to be true of our culture this year. I want us to be a place where people feel safe. Okay? Not comfortable. Safe. There's a difference. Comfortable means nothing challenges you. Okay? Safe means you can be challenged and still feel valued. It's a big difference there. I want us to be a place where tone is steady even when circumstances aren't. I want us to be a place where leaders at every single level carry a tone of confidence, a tone of not of anxiety, a tone of clarity, not of confusion, a tone of hope, not cynicism. I want us to be a place where people can bring bad news without fear. Okay? Where mistakes are met with curiosity, not shame. Where hard conversations happen with respect, not reactivity. That's the culture that we build here in these organizations, and it starts with tone. I know many of you have not thought of tone this way in many different ways, because when I was studying for this and reading and all these different things, it hit me hard too. But I want to be clear on my expectations, because I don't want this to feel like it's just been a hard hit for everyone here, because it's not. I'm learning just as much as you guys are. I'm not asking you to be perfect. Not even close. I'm not asking you to never have a bad day. I'm not asking you to fake it, okay? I'm asking you to be aware. That's it. To pay attention, to take responsibility for the tone that we carry. Everyone. If you're having a hard day, that's okay. We all have hard days, but don't let your hard day become everyone else's hard day. Okay? Name it if you need to. If someone walks by, you can let them know. If you know that you maybe are a little bit on the edge right now, you can be like, you know what, I'm having a rough day. And this actually creates more collaboration, more grace with a culture that's what we speak and what we go for. Now, is every staff member going to show collaboration and grace? No. We hope that we can get perfection, but the staff members that don't end up just leaving, or they get removed, and we get someone that does show the values that we care about at Springs, at Miracle Channel, at SCA. That's just how it has always worked. We want to make sure that we continue down that path. So if you mess up, and you will, we're all aware that you will, own it. Apologize, recalibrate, move forward, move on. That's what leaders do. You actually gain trust, gain influence, gain a lot when you say, I messed up and I'm sorry. That was on me. I've never seen something tear down walls like that statement to people. They're like, oh, okay. He was at fault. If you're principal, vice principal, if you're me, if you're any of the executives or leadership team that we have at Springs, if you're at Miracle Channel, wherever you are, that tears down walls quick. I screwed up. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm taking fault for this. Can you help me rebuild this? Can you help me figure this out? I need some help, whatever it might be. We're a team and we're here to help each other grow. So here's what I'm committing to you as a leader, though, is that I'm committing to model this. I'm committing to be aware of my own tone, to own it when I get it wrong, because I will get it wrong. Everyone will get it wrong at times, okay? To grow in this area, because I'm not done learning either. I always am pushing myself to learn more. But I'm committing to create a space for you to grow, to give you feedback when it's needed, okay? To celebrate progress, to not just celebrate perfection. I think we should never celebrate perfection. That's a way too weird of a thing. No, great. Excellence is awesome. That's awesome. Let's go for excellence. Did you do your best today? Our best looks different every single day sometimes. On Sunday, I just preached and I got like 5 hours of sleep because my message just wasn't clicking. Okay. And I rewrote it and just like, you're going to come to bed? I'm like, yeah, I'll be in bed in 10 minutes. And then I find something in my message where I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that there are some different things here that I got to organize. And I ended up having to do another hour. And then I wake up at 6 and then here I am. And luckily no one talks to me on a Sunday until after first service typically. So I got a good amount of time to make sure I have my tone, a little more than 10-second pauses, I can take some time. No, but I'm just saying, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But this is how it should work, right? We should get to a place where we are very aware of what tone we're bringing. So I'm committing, like I said already, to protect this culture. So if someone's tone is toxic and never changing, consistently toxic, it's damaging the team, damaging students, damaging the mission, we'll address it. And there's many different ways that we can address that because culture is too important for us to let it erode. It just is. This isn't optional. This is a part of everyone's job here. I believe that we have an amazing culture already. I really do. We have an amazing mission. I pinch myself every morning, even in days where I'm like, I got to remind myself to not get familiar with what I'm doing because I get to do something that's purposeful every single day. Across the board, I get to lead people to Jesus. I get to be a rescued, like I said on my Sunday message. I get to be someone who is rescued and work his entire life at pointing other people to the rescuer. Like, how beautiful is that? That's an amazing opportunity that we get. Times get stressful. Times get hard. Parents are hard to deal with, probably the hardest because their kids are perfect, okay? And they always will be. Right? Staff members, they're hard. You don't see eye to eye. You have different personalities, different values, different ways of communicating, different things that we do. Different people leave stuff messy that with a person that's a different type, you're like, this is pathetic, right? But we all have to learn to work together. That's just how it works. And if we don't, well, then there's no point in even doing this. Collaboration and team is what we do it here for. So I believe, like I said, we have a culture that is absolutely awesome already, but once you have a great culture, you have to steward it for the rest of your life. You have to. You can't just go, we got it, sweet, great. No. You have to steward it every single day, and tone is one aspect of how we steward our culture every day as we go. Okay, so I'm gonna end right away. I'm sorry, I went a little longer than the 10 minutes, and maybe 13 since I said 10, but don't quote me on that. Just one practice for the year, okay? Just one practice. It's very simple. Before you enter a space, set your tone. Let's pray. No, just kidding. But seriously, how easy is it to pause? You know when you're walking into a stressful situation. You know when you're walking into something that brings you a little more nervousness than something else that does. And then other things that you do every single day. When parent-teachers come, same thing. Maybe you've been doing it for 30 years and it's just a walk in the park, or maybe you're on your year 2 and it's still something that's like crazy, right? Before you walk into these stressful times, maybe you're leading a meeting for the first time. Maybe you're doing a new adventure or venture out towards what we're building in ministry or whatever it might be. Whatever it is you're walking into, whether you have nerves or you don't, just set the tone. It's so simple. It's so powerful. Before you walk into the classroom, set your tone. Before you walk into a meeting, set your tone. Before you respond to the email, set a tone. Okay, parents don't do that, but teachers do. Okay? Because that's our culture. That's just how it works. Before you respond to that email, set your tone, okay? Before you have that hard conversation, set your tone. You know you're walking into a hard conversation, so set that tone. It takes 10 seconds or less. 10 seconds or less. Pause, take a deep breath, and you just say, what tone do I want to carry into this moment? Regardless of what they say, regardless of their ability to be under my skin, regardless of them to push every button that I have, okay? What tone do I want to carry? No, not the tone that you're feeling, the tone that you want to carry, because your feelings are real, but they shouldn't dictate and be in charge of everything that you are, okay? You get to choose what you do with them. If you're anxious, you can acknowledge it and still choose to carry a calm tone. It's hard, I get it, 100%, but it's needed. If you're frustrated, you can acknowledge it and still choose to carry a patient one. If you're overwhelmed, you can acknowledge it and still choose to carry a steady one. This isn't about faking it, this is about leading yourself. You lead yourself, otherwise your emotions will, right? Or the person you come into contact with in that conversation will lead you. Well, you made me do that. They might have the ability to push every button that you have, but they don't dictate what you do, right? That's why the Bible says you can be angry, just don't sin. The Bible knows that you can control, that emotions come and they can be very hard, but you can still choose your actions and your emotions. So we have to make sure we choose those tones. 10 seconds is all it takes. And over time, that becomes a habit where you don't even take that 10 seconds anymore. On your way, you're just deep breath. Okay, I'm going to go in there, cool, calm, and collected, and we're going to do this. We're going to figure it out. And realize the culture that we're actively building at the school, in Miracle Channel, at Springs Church, is actively making that easier for all of us, because we're going to continue to build that culture stronger to where it's easy to do that. It's easy because everyone around you will start to do that. And the person that doesn't will stick out like a sore thumb and probably not be there the next year. Just how it works, because we're carrying a culture. We have values and we must all be in those, walking them. So here's my challenge, and I'm closing. Go into this year with intention. Pay attention to your tone, okay? Set it before you enter a space. Own it before you get it wrong, okay? Celebrate it when you get it right. And watch what happens, because when leaders carry healthy tones, everything changes. Teams start to thrive. Students start to flourish. Culture becomes something that you want to be a part of. It's beautiful. And that's what we're here building across all these organizations that are here. Amen?
That was the staff meeting.
Yep.
All about tone, all about leadership. And I think in that moment when I was preaching it, when I was teaching it with the staff, first of all, I always say teaching, and there's a imposter syndrome that I feel when I say that, because I feel like I'm not at the level to teach, you know? I think a lot of people feel that way about themselves.
Feel that way all the time.
Yeah, because you're teaching people in a room that maybe have even read more leadership books than you. And I get this, I mean, every single Sunday. So I've died to the expectations of trying to think that I must be at some level that everyone expects me to be at or something, and just go, hey, this is what I've learned, this is what I read, this is what I do, this is what's worked, and this is what hasn't, this is where I failed, this is where I've succeeded.
Right.
And it seems to be a little better that way when teaching and leading and doing these types of staff meetings. But you were in the room that day.
I was in the room that day.
So that staff meeting, I remember teaching it. Is probably a month ago or so now since we've taught it. But that staff meeting has been an absolute springboard for a lot of other teachings that I've done since that staff meeting, and even teachings when I was just in Orlando with a bunch of pastors talking about culture and different things. So it applies to a lot of things. Lot of things.
Yep.
And although you might have the hat on in the staff meeting as how does this help me in my role here at Springs Church, it does also connect to a lot of other areas that are outside of job or outside of those roles as well.
It's interesting you say that, because when I took these notes and when I heard it, I didn't even think about my job per se. I thought about how I operate in all roles across my life. And because, like, you know, you're Zach here as a senior pastor, but you're also a husband at home. You're also a father at home. You're a friend. You're all these other things. In the same way, I'm Matt, and I might run the worship team here for the youth and 1835 stuff and whatever. I might lead worship on a Sunday. but I'm also mad at home. I'm also mad in the car. I'm mad everywhere I go, and everywhere I interact, I'm interacting with somebody, and I have some form of influence on somebody. It doesn't mean it's a significant one, like you've said. It can be up, it can be down, it can be side to side laterally.
Yeah.
And I think I walked away from it really asking myself, how do I come across to people? Like, because I think that is something that one of the things I loved that you said was everyone always chalks up who they are as a person, how they interact with people, down to their personality type. And you hit on that and you said, it's not about your personality type. That's an excuse. If you lean on that and say, well, I'm just introverted, I'm just extroverted, I'm just direct and blah, blah, blah. There's still a way for you to carry yourself, regardless of how you are as a person with people. And so like the biggest thing I walked with was, okay, like what am I communicating to people non-verbally? Like the biggest takeaway for me was, is what I'm saying lining up with what I give out to people. Does that make sense? And so like that hit me, because even like I was like, sure, Matt at work is this, but is the Matt that people see at work is the same person that my wife sees at home? Am I carrying a calm presence? Am I carrying a confident presence? Am I scared? Am I anxious? Those are the things I ask myself. And so, I would say even at work, like there's a little bit of imposter syndrome for a while there. For the first 4 months of my job is like, well, who am I to lead this team? And I think quietly people, without even saying it, like people can maybe pick up on that of like, sure, he says these things, but like, is he lacking the confidence to lead this team the way he needs to be led? Right. That's kind of like my thoughts on that. So you had a lot of good wisdom in that.
Well, I think that there's, my dad used to say, everywhere you go, there you is what my dad used to say all the time.
Yeah.
Bad English, he used to say all the time. But, and there's truth in that. But there's also comfort in that, because if you just choose to be who you are everywhere, then a lot of these things do apply to your life, not just your job.
Right.
And there is the side of thinking at it from the job perspective. But if it's to think about it from the job perspective as if it doesn't apply to the home or the marriage or the father or mother role that they have, then we're missing something there. And I think a lot of people, I mean, even in my own preaching, I mean, a lot of people that chat with me about my preaching or talk to me after Sundays, one of the best compliments that I would probably get is the first one is they feel this genuineness of the fact that it's like, oh, it's like he's just talking, right? Like it's just like, I'll bring up things in my life, I'll bring up failures, I'll bring up things that are true. I mean, the one I said on Sunday that I think made everyone jaws drop a little bit, I just said if I was led by emotions, I'd be an atheist. And they're like, that one nailed us. I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm trying to get across the fact that just because you're a pastor or just because you read the Bible or study it or whatever it might be doesn't put you in a different league above people in the sense of I don't know, your emotions are different than theirs, or no, we're all the same. And in fact, Jesus had the exact same emotions as us.
Right.
So it's like, it's kind of funny that way, I think sometimes. And so the genuine compliment's always been good. And that means same on the stage, same off the stage.
Yeah. Authentic. Real,
But people don't realize and I guess to me, I'm always just like, well, yeah, like that's me. Like,
yeah.
And I get that in a lot of different places. I got that at the conference that I just spoke at, where it's just like when someone talks to me in the halls, they're like, "Oh man, I really appreciate it," because they don't know me at all. They listened to one message from the conference by me, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, I just appreciate that you're just chill." Like when we chat, it's like it's the same person on and off the stage. And I'm like, well, first of all, my dad modeled that a lot. Jesus modeled that all throughout. Doesn't mean that we're going to be like Jesus, because a lot of people aren't. But for me, it's like, it's easier. It's easier to be just me. It's easier to be Zach. And then these types of tone and different things that we're talking about leadership wise, you're applying it to your entire life, because every single area of your life requires you to lead. Like every single one, there's leadership opportunities.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets, and I get that. I think that's a definitely it's an understandable way of taking this, because like you said, it's like you've applied it more to your life than just one area.
Yeah, and like I still apply it to my work.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that when you apply it to your life, it encompasses everything.
And it does,
right?
absolutely.
That's the point of it, and that's what I'm trying to say is that when you're Matt, you're Matt.
Yeah.
You're mad in the office, you're mad out of the office, you're mad at home with your wife, and you're mad at home with your mom and dad and your siblings. Like
Yeah.
you're just mad, which is fantastic. That's
Yeah.
the way it should be, right?
100%.
As long as Matt and Zach and everyone else continues to better themselves and
Totally.
and step into the potential that God's created them to step into. Otherwise, you might suck right now, and you not ever growing from that is going to be a detriment to you and other people.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's blind sides that we have that we got to figure out, blind spots.
I was going to go to that. So you told us as staff to find somebody to kind of almost basically ask them, well, how do you perceive, what do you think my tone is, pretty much?
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked one person, and they said that I can come across laid back. And so, which in some ways it's great, and in some ways it's not, right? And so I told him, I said that I could 100% see that. And for me, it's like, I always think of it as an asset, but at times I think it can be a detriment to leading well. And so I think my question to you is, for people who are trying to assess their tone, who are hearing this and like, well, I've never really considered that. Obviously, I've given one kind of idea to that, which you've talked about, is find somebody to tell you what the tone is. But my question is, how do they identify what tone they typically carry? And if it's a negative one, how do they change it?
Mm-hmm. You have to find someone that sees you in your typical life.
Yeah.
You know?
So someone like close.
Yeah, your spouse. I think a lot of people underestimate how much help their spouse gives them in that area. We just typically don't accept it because it's the person you're most vulnerable with tends to be the person you don't want to be corrected by, because the correction can feel a lot deeper than a friend, because it's like they know everything about you.
It's very raw.
Yeah, it's hugely raw. And that's not to say that you can correct someone. You should be correcting someone if you're a spouse and listening to this. It's like, I'm not giving the permission to just go correct the way you want to correct. There's a way of correction that still leaves the integrity and value of the person intact.
Honors them, for sure. Yeah.
But just because, like, me and my wife, me and Jess, we communicate very opposite, like opposites. And so most of the time, if I'm in not even work mode, but if I'm in any type of like task orientated type of work, I'm just very direct, and the directness comes across as rude. It just does. And typically I know that because she'll respond back to me, and then I'll go like, what was that response for? Like, and she's like, are you listening to yourself? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not hearing it. Like, I don't know. I didn't even do anything.
I don't see any issue with this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think what's been it for me is just realizing that even though you might disagree, your ears are hearing probably something different about your own tone.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to ask the question of what is my tone like, the first thing would be to pick the right person. Yeah. It needs to be a person that loves you. It needs to be a person that wants to see you succeed. Yeah. And the second thing would be, whatever they say, you need to write that down and start working on it. Period. Otherwise, we love to justify that we're better than we actually are, a lot of people. 100%. Or the opposite. There's a lot of people that, like, if you're a confident person, I'm a confident person, you're a confident person, typically that's the way that we think. We think, oh, I'm pretty sure I'm doing better than that, you know? Whereas someone else that might not have that innate confidence, and maybe it's not wired by God. I think it's a nurture thing with family and upbringing and parents and
environment.
Yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff. Other people might be like, they'd think they do a worse job than what they actually did, right? Yeah. So
a ditch on both sides.
There's a ditch on both sides, and you need to make sure that if you're asking, basically all I'm saying is, if you ask, then don't even bother asking if you're not going to take the correction.
Yeah, accept it.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're going to justify the reason you use that tone, then you're missing the entire application of what tone means, right? It's like, my tone, whether I like it or not, can be in the midst of love. It can be it's used in the midst of conflict. It's in the midst of correction and encouragement and celebration. It's used in all of those things. And if I don't see it like that, then I will justify using a bad tone in different areas. My dad used to say, I can hire you with a smile and I can fire you with a smile, right? So, and that wasn't to push this superiority complex of I'm better. No, it was just the fact that we don't have to be mad at each other to realize that maybe it just doesn't work for someone to work in this business or ministry. And I'm talking about people out there, like if they have a business, it's like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Your tone can be a smile, can value the person, can correct them and say, but unfortunately, it's just not working here. You know, so tone's very important. That's I guess in a long roundabout way, it's the fact that if you're going to ask and you're going to ask a person that you're vulnerable with, then just be willing to accept it and say thank you, and then move on.
Yeah. So how do you change it?
How do I change it?
How do you change your tone? What does that look like?
Changing tone is, for some people, it's going to be very hard because if you grew up in a home where, let's say, your dad always had not a great tone, it's like that's going to be pretty hard instilled into you. So, it's similar. It's similar to the whole accountability partner thing where I just said, where you're asking so if I'm asking my wife, I'm also going to give my wife permission to correct me going forward in the times that I'm not asking her anymore, right? So I've asked her once, hey, can you tell me how my tone is typically? And I can tell you, if Jess was sitting right here, she'd probably say, at times it can feel quite intense, your tone, especially if it's like work involved, especially if I'm coming home and I'm a little bit just like stressed, might not be the right word, but just been busy. And I forget to take off my work hat or my boss hat or my pastor hat and put my husband hat back on. It's very easy to muddy those lines. And so that would be the biggest thing is whoever you ask that question to. I mean, you can ask multiple people questions. So I'm talking all over the place because there's so many things going through my head. You can ask 5 people that you trust, but then there's probably a couple people in there that I'd let in that inner layer of saying, now I want you to correct me in the moments that I instantly use the wrong tone. And the beginning of that tone is going to be, or the beginning of that exercise is going to be them correcting you when you don't want to be corrected. And it's going to be in that time. And I would always just say instantly apologize and go, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Like what I meant was this. I've gotten a lot better at apologizing in my marriage. And the better I get at apologizing, the better marriage gets. It's just how it works. And I think it's the same on that side. I think if she apologizes to me because of something went wrong, it's like, it's weird how it makes me feel more connected than I've ever felt. Because it's like you see someone who loves you, who did maybe step into the wrong for a moment, who just says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. And you're like, oh, and it's instantly back to normal for us, right? So how to change is you need someone that you trust that sees the blind spot, because most people's tone is a blind spot for them. They don't realize they're talking like that. And that is the biggest thing. So find someone to correct you and take the correction, and then start to work on it. That's basically it. It took me a long time to realize my tone was negative with even at home, a long time. It took a while, but when I started to accept the fact that Jess wasn't hearing my tone wrong, you know, because that was my first instant reaction was you're clearly hearing my tone wrong.
You're misinterpreting it.
And but that misses it, right? Because I'm leading a bunch of different people. And if she interprets my tone that way, there's a good chance many people interpret my tone that way. And I'm not saying that you have to, tone is an interesting one because there's victimhood that's involved in it too. And if someone is a pathological victim, where it's like always a victim, no matter what you say, no matter how nice you say it, they'll personalize it and they'll make it a hit against them. There's not much you can do with that.
No, you can't.
Right? Sometimes people just don't. Some friends are not meant to be friends. Some staff are not meant to be staff. That's just how it works. But the majority of people don't speak like me, right? And like you, and like any other people that might have a little bit more of a get it done mentality when they're in the midst of work, right? And that's a big one.
I know what you're talking about, because Madeline at times, like, we do communicate differently too, and I think for her, I think I've learned that with tone, intention doesn't mean anything when it comes down to how it made them feel. Right? And so, like, there have been times where I'm in a work mode, or I'm in okay, we need to get this done, we need to figure this out, we need to plan the contingency and whatever happened, and I'm sometimes I oversimplify and I'm too intense about it. And I learned, and I go into fix it mode. Like, oh, you just do this and you're fine. And while my intentions are great, for her, it reads as dismissive.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, for me, it's the tone carries everywhere. 100%. I like what you said though. If the person you're closest with feels this, who else feels that? That's a good one. So,
And there's a good chance the person you're closest with feels it more than the people that you're not closest with. Like, because you're going to put your best foot forward with most people,
100%,
and you're going to be vulnerable at home. But if you can fix it at home, it's fixed.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like then you just go everywhere with that same tone. The intentions thing that you just said, Dr. Laura, I think her name's Schlesinger or something like that.
I couldn't tell you.
Have you ever listened to her?
No.
So she's like in her 80s, I want to say maybe late 70s, and her tone is interesting. But I love listening to her because she is kind of just tried and true, like old school. She's a psychologist.
Yeah.
So she just takes calls of the day all day long on Sirius XM, I think it is. And so she's talked to, I would imagine, hundreds of thousands of people probably by this point. She's been doing a radio show for 50 years.
Yeah.
And she always says the path to hell is paved with bricks of good intention. And she always says that because everyone says that when they have a problem. But I had good intentions. And it's typically the thing you always say before you do something wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was something big for me, where I'm like, I'm sick of saying I had good intentions, because if my actions and my intentions don't line up, then no one believes that I had good intentions.
Well, no one cares about what
No.
your intentions are.
I don't.
Right?
I don't care when someone says, "Oh, it was me." I mean, again, I'm not going to talk about the 1%. I always talk about the 1% because I know everyone that's listening sometimes can go like, "Well, it was good intentions. I just got the girl flowers," and it's like, okay, that's different. So there's going to be a way of interpreting certain things that people are damaged and they need to restore certain areas of their life and get back into that. But the majority of the time is. It's like faith, right? So we just finished Worship Miracles, and one of the lines that I said in there, maybe I didn't, but it was in my notes, was that true faith and to deal with doubt is to make sure that your mouth and your heart are agreeing with the same thing.
Yep.
A lot of people don't do that. So your heart, out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaks, the Bible says. The majority of us in today's day, I would say, unless you're very, very purposeful at reading the Bible, listening to messages, getting that in you, it's filled with a lot of random stuff, our heart. So a lot of us will say stupid things. So like your heart and your mouth need to align in order for like, I think it's Mark 11 that says, speak to the mountain, do not doubt in your heart, right? So it's giving us that first picture of your mouth and your heart need to align for you to speak to the mountain and have it cast into the sea, is what the Bible's saying.
Yeah.
So your intentions and your actions need to align as well, is all I'm trying to say. And so most of the time, the reason the word intentions becomes such a negative thing is because intentions typically are the thing that you blame, you use as a scapegoat. It's like, my actions didn't show it, but my intentions were pure.
Yeah.
And no one cares about that. Everyone cares about what they see and what they feel and what they hear. They want it. They care about the senses that we feel in this room.
Yep.
And that's where I think with tone and what we're talking about, man, your intentions and your actions need to do their best to align.
Yep.
Like at least 90% of the time. There's gonna be times where you screw up, and that's fine. But
I was talking about that, and I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
But we're doing this Elevate thing. We're planning for it. And one of the things I was really thinking about, because I was doing this section on compassion and empathy with answering hard questions. And one of the things I hit on was, if you tell somebody that, I'm here for you, I'm here to listen to you, but all of your physical responses when you say that, like let's say you're talking to me and I'm looking around the room, I'm on my phone, I'm distracted by everything else, and I look like I want to leave. What does that communicate to you? That
I no longer want to talk to you if you do that to me.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it comes down to that as well, where it's like, hey man, even in other things where it's just like, you can mean well and say, hey, you know what? Like, I'd love to pray for you, but why don't you just pray for them there? And say, or instead of going, hey, you know what? I'm going to be praying for you. Just pray for them there. That's one of the things I think about, because it's like, if I were to tell you this, I should be doing that thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that all comes down to it, right? Where let your actions follow your words
Mm-hmm.
and not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I think,
Well, I guess it goes both ways, actually.
Yeah,
When I
that's
think,
what
when
I'm
I
trying
think
to
about it,
think
words
about
follow
right now.
actions, action follow words. Great. But don't let them be misaligned, I guess is what I'm saying.
totally. Yeah. Let them match up. Yeah, I think that there's, I mean, it's happening. We have it's 17, I think she turned 17 months today. I think is her 17-month birthday, Brooke.
There you go.
So, and that happens at home a lot right now because she's so, Brooke is so busy.
Yeah.
At times she can be whiny because she's just that age. She doesn't have the words to communicate. And so we're teaching her the words to communicate. And that kind of in between is like a lot of stuff where you're like, can you stop whining, please? Like,
Yeah.
even if you just say, please, okay, yes, sounds good. Here's your snack, right?
Yeah.
And so because of that neediness, and I don't mean that in a rude way, but because she's in need to be cared for, oftentimes, I don't know why, but she loves to do it when me and Jess are in a good conversation. And me and Jess, with the busyness of both of our lives, with me with church and school and everything that I'm leading and running and stuff and preparing for, and everything with her at home and taking care of the home and taking care of the and being a new mom, like it's a lot of learning curves and it's a busy day. I don't ever I can be home with Brooke for an afternoon and go, holy, this is a lot of work, like a lot of work. And most people would describe my work for what I do as a lot of work. And I'm going, man, so there's no comparison there.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking to Jess and that happens, she'll glance over to Brooke, or she'll make sure she's okay, or she'll think over like, and as I'm talking to her, I won't get the eye contact that I need to make me feel that you care about what I'm saying, right? And I had to learn the hard way. I'm like, why am I bringing up these conversations in times where I know Brooke can interrupt? So it's not my fault. Jess is being a mom. She's being a mother. Like, and that's what her calling is right now at home, is to be a mom. And so I'm getting offended over here going, are you even listening? And she's like, yes, I am. But I'm also trying to make sure our baby's okay. And I'm like, yes, that's fair. Guys can just tunnel vision, and Brooke can fall down the stairs behind us, and it's like, for some reason we could just be tunnel vision, and I don't mean that in lack of care. I'm just saying it's just funny, like guys can get very tunnel visioned. All of our stairs are secure at our house, so there's no falling downstairs at our house. But
on the record.
On the record, because there's someone out there that's just going to be a little funny about it. But that was a big one for me to learn too. I'm just like, and so when you're on your phone or those types of things that you just discussed, it's like, that's also not a time to bring it up. But then if you're a person that pulls out your phone, wow, that person brought it up, and he or she thought that you had that communication line open where it's like, let's have a good conversation. 100%. You dictate, I don't care. And that's why even I do my best, even if my phone's on the table, to flip its screen down. Because if this is like this, I mean, you probably go back into the beginning of this podcast, you'll see me look to it every time it lights up. And it's not because I care about this more than I care about my conversation with you. It's just a stupid like light up screen. Boop, it lights up and it gets your attention, right? And you're like, what?
I'm hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So on top of that, my next favorite thing to do is to get rid of the phone completely if I'm at home. Like, just leave it on the kitchen counter. It's like, if I'm at home, I'm at home. We have this ability to think that we need to be everywhere at once all the time. And it's like, no, it's like if I'm at home, I'm at home. Like, if I'm at work, I'm at work. Right? If I'm at work and I have detailed work to get done where I do not want to be interrupted, I turn do not disturb on. And not many people have access to call me or text me in that moment. I think my wife is the only person that if I turn do not disturb on, she's the only one that could call me to overrule it, whatever it is. And I do that because she never calls me. And if she does call me,
it's urgent.
And if she calls me once, this is my rule with Jess is always this, and maybe other people can learn from this too, is that if you call me once and I'm in a meeting, I'm probably going to ignore it. I'll see it and I'll ignore it. If you call me directly again, I will answer that phone no matter what I'm doing. No matter what I'm doing. If you're giving me a second call, my wife is telling me I need to talk to you right now.
Yep.
And boom, I'm going. And that's it. And it's happened in our marriage 2 times in 10 years where I've silenced the first one, and she knows that. She knows that I'm in a meeting, I'm finishing this up or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And she's not offended by that. She knows that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I promised her that if I see my phone ring the second time, so that there's obviously room for mistakes in there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you that I'm looking at my phone all day. I will absolutely answer that no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm on stage. I will answer that phone call.
Yeah.
And that has helped us a lot too, because it manages expectation. We're going from tone to expectations, all these different things. But that's where intentions comes in, and all these different things that we've already discussed on this. So that's just where it comes from too. But and that tone. For example, now that we already got in there, if I'm answering that phone call, I'm not answering it annoyed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if I answer it annoyed, what does that tone dictate to my wife? That she is being a hindrance to me.
Yeah.
She's interrupting something. The last thing I want to do, if I'm choosing to pick up the phone, is to make that person feel like they're interrupting something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's all done through tone.
Yeah.
Hello? Or hello? You know what I mean? Difference right there. Boom. Tone, tone, tone. It's just like it's funny.
It's big. It's huge.
It is big.
Because it's the hidden things,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the stuff behind the words. So I should maybe implement that phone call rule, though. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Some wives might say, like, why would you ignore the first one? And it's like, and maybe that could be it. Maybe she'll never call you unless it's very meaningful, right? Like she needs to get a hold of you. But for us, that's how it's always been, and Jess knows that. So that's how I have always done it. But Jess doesn't abuse that either. Like Jess is so calm, so collected with that kind of stuff. Like I know full well that if that phone's ringing a second time, she needs me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and if she feels she needs me, it's not my job to dictate whether I agree with her needing me or not. It's just me to be needed and me to come help. That's it, right?
Yeah.
So could be 1, could be 2 phone calls, whatever.
So when it comes to your work, let's even say Sundays, are you consciously thinking about tone?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Constantly thinking about tone all the time. And in fact, once I leave church and go home, I have to be very careful on not over critiquing myself for how I made someone feel in conversations.
Okay.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's if I lose sleep, I lose sleep because of that. I lose sleep because I feel like, did that conversation end a certain way that makes that person feel like I didn't value that person? And that's the hard part. And I've learned to become a lot better with that. But Sundays can be one of the hardest spots too, because you can be in conversations with someone with the impending, doom is the wrong word, but impending, I don't even know what word I would use. There's a time constraint that's coming. Yeah. So the second I step off the stage, there is, and it could be a 30-minute timer in my head, whatever it might be. I have a time frame until I have to step back off on that stage, right? So that can make it hard too, because sometimes when I'm in the rush already, I don't want to make people do that. But that's where honesty in the moment with a good tone, everyone's okay with that. Yeah. And my honesty is instantly, I got the hiccups. The honesty is if I see you in the hall and let's say you're not a staff member or someone that knows me well, you're just someone new, I will open the conversation with that. If they say, hey, I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'd love to chat. Can we chat later? I'm on the stage in 30 seconds. And then and that instantly, unless the person is socially blocked off somewhere in their head where they don't understand to let someone go there, everyone, 99% of the people go, oh, yeah, give her. Yeah, I'll talk to you later, right? Some people continue to go into it. And then I try the tone one more time. I gotta go, right? And if they do it again, my tone will start to get a little more sterner, 100%. I'm not saying that you always have to have this amazing take advantage of me
golden
tone.
retriever.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I use that tone until that tone's really not getting through the person, and then I have to say it. And then sometimes it just doesn't. I'm like, sorry, I have to go, and I'll just walk away. Yeah. And then that doesn't almost never happens, but I'm just saying it does.
It has happened.
Yep, it has. So.
That's good to know.
Any other things that you're thinking about before we end it off?
That made me feel like, you want me to stop talking?
No, not at all.
I'm just
Not at all. Not at all.
I'm just joking.
I have to just remember that they listen. I mean, most people actually tell me that we should go longer.
Really,
That's usually
eh?
what I get told.
I usually look at them like it's an hour and 40 minutes. That's a long time.
Yeah, and I think, if it's a good podcast for me, I always enjoy listening to it longer because it just becomes something I listen to in my car. And it might be across 4 days, and that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just saying that in the sense that I want to make sure that we cover what you are thinking, but at the same time,
I'm just goofing.
you're just
I don't.
my gears.
Yeah, I don't have anything too crazy. I think we could circle on this for a long time, but overall, it was a great staff meeting.
Thank you.
Got
It
a
was
lot from
fun.
it. Yeah.
It was fun. I think it's and everyone will probably hear this in the next couple because I have a couple more people that are more involved with the Maxwell Ministries that will be on in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I think everything in leadership, people just need to realize that leadership is it takes time. It's not something it's just done and you've made it.
Yeah.
It's constantly developing yourself. It's constantly working on your influence. It's constantly working on your tone.
Mm-hmm.
And if leadership is influence, one of the best ways to influence is to make sure that you use a great tone that people want to be influenced. They want to be with you.
Yeah.
Because I've been influenced both ways, away from someone and to someone.
Yeah.
Because of their tone, where
100%.
I'm just like, oh, this person doesn't want me around, or this person clearly is more busy than like their busyness is taking prioritization over me, and over their ability to tell me they're just busy and let's chat again soon. You know what I mean? Like people can say that too and not be so dismissive, but that's a big one, right? That's a massive one. I think I started that staff meeting with the law of the lid too, and that's another Maxwell term. Which means you can only lead to the lid that you have on yourself. And that lid that you have on yourself is completely dictated upon your ability to better your leadership capability. In other words, if I would, let's say leadership is out of 10, and let's say I think I'm a 5, I can only lead the staff under me to a 4.
Okay.
Right. So in order for the staff to get led in higher leadership capability, I need to grow my leadership capability to make sure their leadership capability can continue to grow.
Pop the lid off.
Yeah. So you continue to go up. You always have a lid. I think even Maxwell would say he has a lid, but just realizing you have it, and he always does this.
Yeah.
Which means you can only lead up to that.
Yeah.
And you're not getting any higher than that. Right. And I think that's where a lot of people need to realize. And I think the law of the lid really works in a lot of areas with the way that you parent, the way that you father, the way that you spouse, like as a husband or a wife. The less you know, the worse that you can be, right? And as you learn how to communicate and how to have not good intentions, but how to align your intentions and your actions together, you start to raise that lid. And when you raise that lid, you take everyone with you. You know what I mean? So the better I get, the better the staff get. Yeah. Is basically what that leadership principle works like. So, they'll probably hear a lot in this podcast as we wind this down. They'll probably hear a lot of this podcast in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell, because that's a very good book. A lot of good golden nuggets in there that would help a lot of people.
So I should read that book.
Oh, for sure. I think I said that in that staff meeting, by the way. So.
Oh. Hey, cut that out, Daniel.
But anyways, we should probably close her up. And thank you, everyone who have been watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this conversation and the staff meeting that we played. I think it was fun to play the staff meeting because most people don't really get a look into our staffing situation unless you're on staff. And we're not perfect, but we do our best to continue to teach and preach and learn all we can. And I think that's what these podcasts come back down to. And that's what the name of the podcast comes down to too, Forge, right? Like Forged is something we need to do every day. We are in the forge. We are continuing to better ourselves. We are continuing to be not the best of everyone, but be the best that you can be. Compare yourself to yourself. Continue to get more leadership books, more parenting books, more fathering and mothering books, more marriage book, everything. Just continue to become the best that you can be, and just you'll see where God takes you is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So I hope you enjoyed this leadership podcast that we did today. We have a few more coming in the month of March that I know you are absolutely going to love, as we have a few more people from Maxwell's Ministries and people that are going to be on here that are very good in their knowledge with leadership. So like I always say, and just because I always say it, I hope it doesn't lose the meaning behind it, but like this, subscribe to this podcast, go follow us on the socials so that you can be up to date with what we post and what we share and the clips that we share. Text this to someone. Every single person that's listening right now probably has someone in their mind that would benefit from this podcast. And we want this podcast to continue to get stronger and even get guests on that we haven't even met yet that are so good in the fields that they're in, and liking and sharing and subscribing and commenting, and everything that I'm saying right now helps us continue to make this podcast the best podcast that we can possibly make, where it's good conversation, it's rooted in God's word, but as we listen to it, we are forged in God's word and continue to become the best that we can be. So like always, I love you guys. We'll see you here next episode. So have an awesome week.